Good morning and welcome to Today in LA. And of course, my name's Mike Amos, and we'll be broadcasting to you from our studios here on South Brundage Street in Troy, Alabama. You're watching on Facebook across the world today. Good morning to you. It looks like a beautiful day in South Alabama. And of course, Alabama and Auburn getting ready to kick it off. And the Auburn Tigers and, of course, our own Troy Trojans do battle with Boise State this Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock p.m. as they do battle with the Boise State Broncos of Boise, Idaho. Yes, it is the guys from the Blue Field coming to Troy, Alabama to play at Veterans Memorial Stadium right here in Troy, Alabama, to open the football season. Hope you're ready for it like I am, and of course we're excited about it. Of course, we've got high school football also in full speed, going straight ahead. Of course, Charles Henderson just off of a 10-6 victory over Pike County for braggers' rights in the county, and of course Charles Henderson travels to Enterprise this Friday night, 7 o'clock kickoff. The Trojans of Troy against the Enterprise Wildcats should be a good one from Enterprise on Friday night. And, of course, we've got a lot of other games we'll be talking to you about. But right now, everything is straight ahead as Steve Camp is running the show this morning, and we appreciate him very much. Of course, we've got a lot of football games coming on this weekend. Of course, we were looking straight ahead at the Crimson Tide of Alabama. They go against a team that, to me, for the last 10 or 15 years, a very respectable team to go up against anybody on the first game of the season. But I'll say this, whether or not you're playing a team like Louisville, who at one time was a threat to beat most anybody, or if you're playing Washington like Auburn has to do in Atlanta on Saturday, and then Troy to play against a team like Boise State, is not going to be easy, believe you me. And I know everybody's getting ready for the kickoff, and we'll be talking more and more about it all day long today, right here on our we got our first call of the day. Good morning. You're on Today in LA. That's Low Alabama.
Hey, morning.
Where are you calling from?
Best Stadium, Mountain Brook line.
Oh, right there, right down the line of those two fine communities.
Yeah, if I can just get through the fence, I'll
Yeah.
be in Mountain Brook.
Can you hear the traffic flow over there heading toward Mountain Brook High School?
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, those are a bunch of rich kids now. You know that, don't you?
Well, they say Mountain Brook's old money and Best Stadium is new money.
Yeah, I got you. No question about it. Of course,
you named the quarterback. Caleb Barker is the new starting quarterback for the Troy Trojans.
Well,
but Sawyer Smith will play, according to Neil Brown.
Oh, yeah, no question. In fact, I'm tickled that they went ahead and made a decision, because both those young men need to know what they're going to be asked to do. And it wouldn't surprise me that Sawyer Smith played early in the game.
Of course, in Tuscaloosa, nothing has been decided in their quarterback battle, and a lot of people are saying that Hurts should be the starter against Louisville.
Won't that be something? Well, he's the veteran,
Well, I think it's one of those things where, Alabama thinks they can win the game regardless who's playing, but I would imagine him and Tua would play probably equal.
Of course, Marshall Law, ex-walk-on, may start at linebacker for Troy. Carlton Marshall, Law.
They gave him a scholarship the other day. That's a great story about him. He walked on to Troy, but he was a star linebacker for McGill Tulane. And if anybody doesn't know, McGill Tulane is one of the best programs in the state of Alabama.
No question about it. And I didn't know that about him. I'll take all of.
About his height. He's only 5'10".
Yeah, like you've heard me say before, I'll take all the McGill-Tulane guys that they'll send me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like take.
with Troy, the running back will be B.J. Smith, kid out of Stanhope Elmore, is the starter going into the Boise State game. A guy that has not played a whole lot. He'll be backed up by Henderson and Fry.
Yeah, I noticed Fry's been working some back there. You can tell it when he's in there because he is fast as lightning.
But Jamarius Henderson, I think, will play a lot.
No question about it.
But Vegas is not showing Troy any love. 11-point favorite, Boise State.
That's how much Vegas Hey, that's how much Vegas knows. Put everything you've got on. I'm joking. I would take Troy right now at 11 points. I'll tell you that. I think it's going to be a great game.
I agree with that. I think it's going to be a close game. I think we're going to see something around 20-17. I think somewhere around that range.
Well, we got a lot of good high school and college football games to look at, and we'll be talking about them today on our show. But, of course, I'm glad that Troy went ahead and made the decision on Barker. And, of course, either way, I would think it would have been a pretty good decision. Sawyer Smith, the young man from Tate High School in Pensacola, and the young man, Mike, you don't, I bet if you look back, you wouldn't find many players that came out of that little community that Barker came out of.
Yeah, Priceville.
Priceville is a small town. It's a fast-growing town. It's south of Decatur and Hartselle, heading toward Huntsville. And of course,
I mean, it's right off the Interstate 65.
Yeah. And of course, this young man.
Also, at tackle, Austin Stenham will be the starter at tackle. Everybody else on the offensive line comes back, which is a really good sign to have all those offensive linemen back this year.
Yeah. I was watching, looking at Facebook the other day, and I asked for him to show me the Boise State Broncos, and boy, sure enough, they interviewed the entire staff and players, and boy, that was a conference. I was very impressed with the way they handled themselves. They were very mature and real fire. I thought they said very nice things about Troy, and like a lot of folks will, and now it's that time, game time, and it looks like it's going to be a great battle between two. What do they call it, Mike? The
non-Power 5 programs.
Now, what does that mean? Non-Power 5 programs.
That means there's 5 different conferences that are considered Power 5, and Troy's a non-Power 5.
Yeah.
So you got the SEC, you got the ACC, you got the Big 10, the Big 12, and the Pac-12. Those make up the Power 5. And then you've got the non-Power 5, which is Conference USA, the Mountain West, the MAC, and the Sun Belt.
Okay. And
that's the way it works. There's 129 Division I football teams playing in the Power 5 and the non-Power 5.
Okay. I've got Larry Blakeney coming on today, Mike, at 7:45 today, and looking forward to hearing from the former coach.
Coach Blaney is up in Auburn, and it seems like he's enjoying retirement.
Yeah, and I tell you what, he's a great guy. He always has been, and I think people in Troy really do appreciate him very much. And he'll be coming on our show every Monday this football season, and we're looking forward to that. And he'll give us insight on some of the games coming up. I was looking at some of the games that we'll see this weekend, and you were telling me that you thought that one of the games to look at, and it's Nebraska. Nothing is proven at Nebraska. They've got a new coach, and of course he went undefeated last year, and he's a very, very fine young coach. But he's yet to coach a game at that level. Don't you agree?
Well, I mean, he's been in Oregon and been in other places, big time programs. But as a head coach, this would be the first opportunity. So,
of course, he beat Auburn. He beat Auburn last year. That'd tell you something right there, won't it?
Yeah, when he was at Central Florida.
Yeah.
Nebraska's also got issues at quarterback. They named their starting quarterback a kid named Martinez, but then the backup quarterback who was on scholarship was upset he didn't get picked to be number one, so he left school yesterday. So
no way. Are you serious?
Nebraska only has one scholarship quarterback for the rest of the season.
Oh no! You mean he's not coming back?
That's correct. He's gone.
Oh man, isn't that something?
If they lose their starting quarterback, they'll be playing a walk-on the rest of the season.
Boy, oh boy.
That's a little scary for a coach, isn't it?
Well, I tell you what, we might be catching them at a very good time.
See what Terry Bowden does with them this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
Interesting news out of Starkville too. Nick Fitzgerald suspended from Mississippi State opener. Coach Fitzgerald was a quarterback that got hurt last year against Ole Miss, but
yeah.
One of the best quarterbacks Mississippi State's had in a long time. He's very similar to Dak Prescott. He will not play the opening game against Stephen S. Austin. Was suspended by new coach Joe Moorhead. So that's interesting for a team captain to be suspended for the first game.
No question about it. Of course, I want to mention that the rodeo was a huge success this weekend in Troy. A record number of people were at the rodeo, and we want to congratulate the cattlemen for putting on a great show, and a lot of people were there, especially on Saturday, Mike. It was a perfect time to go to a rodeo. No football really in the area, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful night. And I've talked to people that went to it, and of course my good friends out at Pike County Ford, a bunch of those guys went. They were all excited about rodeo. These guys are from Texas, and they like this Alabama rodeo, Mike.
So did you put your cowboy boots and cowboy hat on and go out there?
No, and I don't know. I was supposed to be in Montgomery to see the Jacksonville State game, and can you believe this? And ladies and gentlemen, I hate to say it, but it's just the way I am. I was rooting for North Carolina AT&T the whole game. How about you?
I knew you'd be excited about that last second ball.
I mean, no question. I mean, when in the world am I going to start being a Jacksonville State fan? They've been our biggest
loss for their program. I mean, you won 41 straight regular season games and
regular season non-conference games.
I would imagine that everybody in the country thought Jacksonville State would win that game. Of course, they had, I think, 150 yards of penalties and only gave up 174 yards of offense, but still got beat.
Against a team that was noted for their great offense. In fact, their quarterback, A&T's quarterback, had won something like 40-something straight games as a starter. Did you see that?
Well, A&T had, one of the biggest plays in the game was Jack State scored. I don't know if you watched it, but the guy they kicked off and the guy ran 98 yards.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Untouched. So,
I saw it.
That was one of the biggest plays of the game.
And other than that,
Alabama's released their depth chart. If anybody wants to hear who's going to be the starters at second string, we got that.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Of course, first of all, let's take care of some local stuff. Again, after a long battle, ladies and gentlemen, Troy has decided on Caleb Barker as their starter in their game against Boise on Saturday. Of course, Barker's a young man out of Priceville, Alabama, has great speed. He's 6'1", 210, and has outstanding speed and has a lot of savvy about him. I like him as a quarterback. I watched him in the scrimmage the other day, and I want to say he had 4 touchdown passes and then scored 2 times running the football. So he's got some ability, no question about it.
Yeah, they've gotten Coach Brown in his press conference yesterday said that he's gotten a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and when they signed him out of high school, they really didn't know what they had. They didn't realize how good he was going to be. That was a great signing class for his quarterbacks. You had Rigsby, Coach Rigby.
You mean they were in the same class with Rigby?
Yeah, they had Barker and they had Sawyer Smith. So all 3 of those guys signed in the same class.
Isn't that amazing? And of course, Rigsby and Smith were good friends because their dad Rigsby's dad coached down at Tate High School.
That's right.
And
Grady Reeves is a Tate High School
alumni. Yeah, exactly right. That surprised me. Eufaula losing to Early County like they did. I don't know if that was considered a regular season game. I don't think so. What do you think?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if somebody got hurt, a quarterback got hurt, or something like that.
Well, they turned.
And only scored 3 points is really hard.
Eufaula turned the ball over 7 times, Mike. Unbelievable. And of course, it was the debut of Coach Rigby. And I'll say this, that this was the same team that Charles Simpson beat during the spring, and I wasn't very impressed with them. But evidently, they've either didn't play a lot of players that in that game, or they just got a lot better throughout the summer. But you know, they walloped Eufaula early county.
It's hard to really determine anything out of the spring game.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, Pike Liberal Arts is off, Mike, off to a very good start, and they are ready to go up against Freeport, Florida. Now, tell me how this happens now. This is a public school in Florida going up against a private school in Alabama.
I have no clue how that happens. You sure that's not a private school they're playing out of?
No, it's Freeport High School, the same school that David Felix coached basketball at. Freeport High School.
I mean, I'm very familiar with Freeport. That means I'm about 15 miles from the beach house when I hit Freeport.
That's right.
Freeport's really growing, actually, but I don't know. I don't know how that happens. I didn't know a private school team could play a public school.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because they're out of Florida.
Well, we're going to find out a lot about this Pike Liberal Arts team going up against a team like this from Florida.
Are they traveling to Florida?
They're going to Florida. They must be planning on spending the rest of the weekend down at the beach, you reckon?
Might as well.
Wait a minute, what now? All right, it's going to be the live game on Troy Cable from Freeport, Florida. Is that right? Man, that's going to be something.
Well, maybe some Pike Liberal Arts Patriot parent or faculty or staff or somebody can call in and see how that game got set up. That is strange.
Yeah, evidently somebody, it was an opportunity for both of them. Yeah, that's right. Like Steve said, that's a good thing about being a private school. They can play anybody they want to, and of course, this is going to be a pretty tough matchup, I would say, for Pike Liberal, because this is a pretty big school in Florida, wouldn't you say?
I would think so. I mean, it's definitely interesting.
I know this. Their colors are orange and blue.
I'd like to see what the numbers are. I don't know how big of a school Freeport is or not. I'd have to look and see.
Well, it's going to be exciting football, and that's this Friday night at Freeport. Pike Liberal Arts going against.
If anybody gets a bunch of bait, they can go over there real early and go fishing on the bay.
There's no question about it. Of course, I want to mention also a big game in Goshen Friday night. Arrington and Goshen go at it. Boy, that could be a good one, Mike.
Yeah, both teams were really good last year, and both teams went really far in the playoffs. I would give an edge to Arrington this year. They had their quarterback back, and Goshen, I know, has got a lot of athletes back, but they lost a lot as well.
Well, let me tell you, I interviewed Goshen early in the summer, or a few weeks ago, and I was very impressed with the way that football team looked. They've dressed over 50 players, and that's a lot for a 2A school, and they look very good. They've got to replace their quarterback, who was Bart Snyder's son, Brock, who was an outstanding player, and then they had the great running backs. Both of those guys are gone now.
Yeah, I think they all play at Faulkner.
Yeah, that's right. A bunch of them got signed with Faulkner, and let me tell you something. He's built a program down there, and look out for the Goshen Eagles. This is going to be a great game. Arrington at Goshen. Want to mention also Zion Chapel playing at Red Level. Of course, Zion Chapel got it taken to them pretty good this past week too.
Yeah, well, Zion Chapel's, that's a school that has a hard time winning, and hopefully Coach Bryan can find a way to turn it around. I know he's got the youngest coach in high school football with Noah Lowry, who left Charles Henderson, is now one of his assistants. So best of luck to Zion Chapel. That's always a tough place to win, though.
Mike, going back to Pike Liberal Arts, who played the second half, most of the second half for Pike Liberal Arts, was a young man named Drew Nelson, Mike, a ninth grade quarterback that, he threw his first touchdown pass against Crenshaw Christian. And ladies and gentlemen, you're talking about an athlete.
Apparently he's the phenom athlete at Pine Liberal Arts.
Well. Let me just say this about him. Let me say this about him. First of all, he's a fine young man. I've known him ever since he's a small kid, and I know his dad. His dad's an excellent coach himself, in rec ball and so forth. This kid was the same kid that came in as an 8th grader in the championship game in baseball and just shut everybody out. Not only with his just outstanding pitcher. And they say he's just like that in football. They say he can run the option, he can throw the football, he just makes good decisions. And now they've got Sykes, who is their starting quarterback, who's a very good athlete. And what they did, they moved Sykes to a wide receiver, and guess what? Drew threw a 50-yard touchdown pass to him. So it might be that Pike Liberal might be better off alternating their quarterbacks. What do you think?
I don't know. He seems like a great athlete. His dad, growing up, he's one of the few kids I knew growing up in Troy that went to Pike Liberal Arts. He was a big, Pike Liberal Arts, I guess, legacy. I guess his son is Fawn David. So
that's right.
Definitely seems like he's a great athlete. I know everybody says he's got one of the best pickoff moves in baseball.
Well, I haven't ever seen anything like it. I mean, it got where in the state playoffs that they wouldn't even come off the base. And, that's a big advantage when you can hold a team on base like that. They don't get much of a jump off the ball.
Yeah, he's going to be a big kid, too. His dad's about 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I know it. And it just tickled me, what an outstanding athlete he is. Matt DeBarca at Troy and Matt Moore, of course, I think one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. And Mike, I was talking to Coach Blakeney about him. Matt Moore, you got one of the best offensive-minded coaches in the country as far as building an offensive line, which you've got to have to win. And then you take a guy like Coach Vic Coning, who's a veteran defensive coach, and then you take a guy like Coach Brown, Neil Brown, what an outstanding young coach he is. I'll tell you right now, and people are going to say, man, you're out of your tree. You don't know what you're talking about. I'll take those 3 coaches over any three coaches in the country. I really would. I think those 3 coaches are as good as any 3 coaches in college football.
Well, they're definitely, as far as having a young experience, as far as being so young, still in his 30s, Neil Brown's definitely, one of the hottest commodities in football. And then at the Sun Belt level, having a defense coordinator like Nick Coning Vic Coning is almost unheard of.
Yeah.
There's no reason Vic Coning should be at a Sun Belt school. He's been at some of the bigger schools in the country and has done well at those schools as well. Then Matt Moore, as far as offensive line play, Troy had a record as far as sacks given up. They only gave up 7 or 8 sacks.
That's right.
2 years ago was the best in the country. So that coaching staff's really good, and that's why we probably won't have them next year.
Yeah, you're right. Ricky Clark, good morning to you, the owner of Pike County Ford on the bypass. And Ricky and I have become good friends, and he is a sports phenom, Mike. He loves sports. He comes to us from Marshall, Texas, and he's bringing his whole family to Alabama. And, of course, they'll be here this weekend. And Ricky's all excited about college football and already has a group of guys that are going to be tailgating together prior to the game. And I said, what are you going to have? He said, wings. I said, well, there's a lot of good places you can get wings around here. He said, listen, my wings are Texas wings, the best wings you'll ever find anywhere. So he's a connoisseur of great wings.
I'm sure you'll go around and probably try a few different tailgates and try a little bit of food yourself. You're known for doing that.
Well, I had dinner last night.
Remember we went into NC State a few years back, and we're walking into the stadium, and you stopped by a tailgate. A bunch of NC State fans were cooking chicken, and you talked to the guy, and the guy gave you a chicken breast on the way in.
I know, and it was really good, too. Those folks were really nice, and everywhere we go, we're finding nice people. But I want to mention Santa Fe this morning, and Boy, that was a good meal last night. They've got the best bread, Mike. That soft bread that is just wonderful.
Like that big fat yeast roll with
with that honey butter. I love it. Boy, that's a good place to eat. I'm telling you. And I had a filet last night that was out of sight, and the guy sitting next to me was eating wings, and I almost pulled off something my old friend did one time. I almost caught my hand almost reaching for one of those wings, and then somebody had to grab it.
Was the coaches show out there last night?
No, it's going to be there Thursday. The coaches show will be from there on Thursday. But you know, Mike, isn't that unreal to sit down and everybody's getting their food and you're waiting on your food, and the guy next to you had this big old plate of wings. And you it's just within your reach of getting one, and you can't do it.
Yeah, I'm a big wings guy. I tell you, I'll be excited when I come back to Troy to visit when Trojan Zone opens downtown.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. I don't know what there's how far away they are, but it's going to really help downtown in my book, no question about it. Of course, we are here's some of the games that they're picking this week. Of course, Charles Henderson at Enterprise, Pike Liberal Arts at Freeport. Now, how will you pick that game? Now, how do you, you would think.
I don't know. You'd think a public school would beat a private.
Yeah, you would think that. You're right. Arrington at Goshen. What a game that's going to be. Alabama Christian, I think, is much improved playing at Pike County. And Mike, I don't know how far he goes back, but Charles Henderson has gotten quite a streak going against Pike County right now. I want to say 7 or 8 years in a row, something like that.
They barely won this past weekend.
I know it.
But, it's a situation where, Pike County dresses about 22 guys. Charles Henderson probably dresses 50. So, that's one thing you got to realize. Every single guy that Pike County plays is a player.
Charles Henderson dresses 70. And, of course, and you're right, no question about it. You would think that.
I'll say this, that when it's all said and done and the playoffs come around, I would imagine Pike County's going to be going pretty far.
No question about it. Of course, we want to mention also the game between Zion Chapel and Red Level. Zion Chapel needs to win that game because that's you look at their schedule. It's going to be a tough one. Of course,
look at the area they play in.
These college games are going to be.
Isn't it hard to believe that Zion Chapel's the biggest school in Coffee County now?
Oh, is it? Is that right?
Oh, Elvis is 1A.
I tell you, that surprised me. We're going to take a short break.
They're 2A.
Yeah. Mike, we're going to give you your favorite song here. Ladies and gentlemen, the Auburn Tigers getting ready to do battle with the Washington Huskies from Atlanta, Georgia. It's the Tigers of Auburn and the Huskies of Washington.
Have you ever heard of betting your house? I would take Auburn at 2.5 and bet my house.
Oh, well, I'll tell you this. But Mike, listen now.
Washington is not going to come in.
Washington has got the best. What a lot of people think ladies and gentlemen, hear this. A lot of people think that Washington has the best quarterback in the country. They also think that Washington.
Yeah, but is he going to get rid of the ball when he's got guys like literally in his face? Dirt.
Well, all right, let me finish now. A lot of people think the running back of Washington is the best running back in the country. Have you ever heard that?
Miles Gaston.
Yeah. And a lot of people think that Washington's got one of the best defenses in the country. Is that true?
I guess we'll find out.
I mean, Auburn's got to go through all of that, but I'll tell you the great advantage Auburn's got, and I would almost tell you, I wouldn't doubt if Washington wasn't already in Atlanta getting ready. I would think they'd come in 2 or 3 days early, wouldn't you think?
Well, I don't know if they'll be there this early. But
well, of course, they got to fly all the way across the nation, and that's going to be a big advantage for Auburn. The crowd noise should be unreal for Auburn, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think Chris Peterson is one of the best coaches in the country. I mean, he's a great coach.
All right, well, all right.
I really like Auburn in this game because I really like their defensive line and their linebackers. Yeah. I think it's going to be one of those type of things where Browning's going to be running for his life.
I agree with you, but at the same time, let's throw in one of the best coaches in the country in Peterson. You know, he's been there and done that.
He's trying to have a quick release and get rid of the ball. He's going to have to throw a lot of short passes, but then Auburn's speed will come into play then.
Yeah. I was watching that Jacksonville State game against North Carolina A&T, and of course Jacksonville lost the game.
They're not A&T, they're A&T.
A&T, okay. A&T. Which
A&T is one of our sponsors.
And you know what? They won 13 straight games last year, and I don't know what their winning streak is right now, but you know they're now 14 straight. I know they've won.
They had lost their coach too. You know, that was the first game for that new coach.
And you're exactly right. And he didn't act like he was doing much, did he? But let me just say this. Jacksonville did not give their quarterback time to turn around. That quarterback, all the way through his high school days, had played in 49 straight victories. Can you believe that? He had run 49 straight games or something like that. And you know what? He could not throw the ball because Jacksonville's defense was just all over him. So what he had to do is throw the real. He'd get the snap, you notice, and try to hit the guy coming across. That was the only thing he'd get off. Like most time you've got this. You've got a snap back, 1,001, 1,002, 1,003. You got that much time to throw the ball normally. But in his case, he had to get the ball, and as soon as he got the ball, he had to just whip it across the middle, or he wasn't going to have time to get it off.
Yeah, that's true.
But now I'll tell you something about their team. North Carolina, they shut Jacksonville run game down. Did you see that?
Yeah, they were real fast.
And what I'm saying, they had one guy, the guy that caused the fumble right at the end of the game. They say next to the guy from Houston, he might be the best defensive front guy in the country. Rush in. He's called a rush in, and he's an All-American, and you could tell he made a big difference for that team from North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge victory for them, and you know, Johnny Williams, give him credit. A lot of people probably saw that matchup and didn't think that they would give Jack State a game, and they ended up beating Jack State.
Yeah, no question about it. By the way, let's do this. Let's see if he'll answer the phone this morning. I'm gonna put you on hold and bring you in a minute. I'm gonna call him right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a short break. We'll be right back.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Here at Town & Country, we are proud to be an American.
We've had you covered on the inside since 2005, and with our addition of Southern Grill and Patio, we now have you covered on the outside. Come see our great selection, where we make sure grilling and relaxing go hand in hand.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
Yeah. Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, and we're trying to get up with Johnny Williams, but it looks like that he is out of pocket this morning. Mike Amos, you still with us?
Please record your message.
And so, of course, we missed out a little bit on both of those guys. But it is a Tuesday as we start a work week, and as I mentioned, we got Coach Larry Blakeney. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, I was calling back.
Mike Amos calling back, and of course we got Coach Blakeney calling in at the quarter of the hour. And of course, Mike, it's exciting times. Football is here, and of course, we've had a few high school games so far that have been exciting. Pike Liberal is already 2-0, and which congratulations to their coach and his staff over there. They've done a great job to start the season. But right now, it is game time for most of the high schools and most of the colleges in the country. And
it's official. High schools are starting up for sure. Yeah, this is legit. No more jamborees. These are all counts.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's hard to figure out sometime whether it's a regular game or a jamboree.
Yeah, I know Vestavia was playing Briarwood up here, and that was going to be a jamboree.
Yeah. Well,
Buddy Anderson is the all-time winningest coach in the state of Alabama. I don't know how much longer he's going to coach.
Yeah. Well, the guy that hired Buddy Anderson is coming on the line in a few minutes, and this could be him right now. Let me put you on hold, Mike, and we'll go to the line right here. Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, Mike, it's Will Matthews. What are you up to this morning?
Nothing much, Will Matthews. We're talking ball. We're talking ball this morning. How you doing?
It's not far off.
Where are you going to be this weekend, buddy? You going to be watching a lot of ball?
I'm going to be in Arlington, Virginia with my grandbaby.
Well, great. I know you're excited about that. And
I am.
Is this your first look at him?
First look.
I hope the baby looks like his mama instead of his daddy or his granddaddy.
It's a little girl, so I hope it does.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, I know you and folks at Carroll High of Ozarks getting ready, and they look like they're going after another big year.
Oh yeah, they and really they've been undefeated the last two regular seasons, and this year they couldn't get the 9-game schedule.
I noticed a lot of people were like that. Charles Simpson was like that too. I want to mention that Skipperville, Long High School of Skipperville, does battle with, listen to this, Dale County High School. That's going to be a great game, don't you think?
That will be. Oh, yeah, that'll be a great game.
And, of course, we'll be watching that game closely. That's one of the big early games I can remember, those two teams playing each other, because that could be for the area championship almost.
Yeah.
Of course, several other games. Elba is at Opp. That's going to be a big game. Locally, Georgiana at Luverne. Boy, Georgiana's really got a good program going, and that's going to be a tough one. Highland Home at Headland. They say they got a kid at Headland, Mike, that's really the real deal. He intercepted 2 passes for touchdowns, and he ran for another last week.
Yeah.
And he plays at Headland, and of course we'll find out more about him, and as the season goes on. Of course, on the college front, Will, who do you like?
Well, you got to like Clemson, you got to like Alabama, and you got to like Georgia. Those are my three big teams this year. Same ones from last year.
Well, I was looking at it down the stretch here. Auburn is it's gone now to a 1-point line. That means everybody's taking Washington right now, Will, but how can you go against Auburn in this situation?
Well, Washington's got a better coach.
Well, do you think so? Do you think so?
Yeah. Well, listen, he's been 3-time National Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I know it.
Coach. Chris Peterson's a great coach.
Used to be the head coach at Boise, and of course, you're right.
That's right. And
but now, as we always say on this show, Will, the coach can't play.
Yeah, but he calls the plays, and he is a great offensive genius.
Yeah, you're right. So you like Washington in this game?
I like Washington.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah, I'm all over Washington.
Well, just the opposite of Michael. Mike, he loves Auburn in this situation. One thing it's going to be just a total mismatch as far as the crowd goes. And, if there's 5,000 Washington guys there, I would be surprised, wouldn't you?
Well, Auburn has had a crowd like that against UCF, and it didn't help them.
That's
So,
right.
You know,
Well, you're exactly right.
play. You got to go play.
Yeah. Now, Alabama started off as a 28-point favorite over Louisville. Now it's dropped to 24. A lot of people thinking maybe with the two quarterback systems, they might not gel that early. What do you think?
I don't know what Louisville's got, but that's a lot of points. I know that.
It really is. And, of course, Louisville's coach, of course, he loves to ride motorcycles and all that, but he's a pretty good offensive coach, wouldn't you say?
And he's a very good...
Petrino, is it Petrino or Paterno, or who is it? Petrino, isn't it?
Petrino, Bobby Petrino.
Bobby Petrino. And, all that stuff that he got in trouble with, I reckon just sort of blew away, didn't it?
Well, when you win football games,
Yeah.
they don't tend to look at it too much.
You're exactly right. Of course, we're looking at games this week, ladies and gentlemen, that jump out at you. And, of course, Auburn is a game that jumps out at you. So, going in, the only way I could take Auburn is that if the huge crowd difference and then the very good quarterback that Auburn has, but they have a running backs. Really, you don't know who they're going to use. What do you think there?
I think they've got a good running back, that Carey, whatever his name is from last year. He's pretty good.
All right, if they've got that, and then their quarterbacks and the receivers, they're going to be able to score some points, don't you think?
Oh, yeah. But it's going to be a low-scoring game, Mike.
Because both of them are supposed to have good defenses. Is that right?
Both of them have good defenses. The over-under in that game is 48, so that's pretty low.
That is low, no question. And those wise guys don't ever put them down because they do a lot of research, don't they?
And they've got computers and everything. They know what's going on.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah, but then every week you look at these lines, you say, gosh, where are they coming from here? You're like Oklahoma. Oklahoma line is dropped.
Last week, Colorado State opened with Hawaii. They were 17-point favorites.
That's right.
Beat by 17.
That's right. Hawaii came up with a quarterback nobody had ever heard of, and he looked like an All-American. I was looking at a couple of more, like Vanderbilt. Your Vanderbilt Commodores. Michael thinks that Middle Tennessee is going to wallop them. What do you think?
Well, I think Vanderbilt's going to be good on defense, but I doubt they've got much offense.
Of course, their quarterback's coming back, and he had a pretty good year last year. Vanderbilt started off as a 7.5-point favorite. It's dropped all the way down to 3. So a lot of people like Middle Tennessee in this situation, but I just can't see it. I think I would take Vanderbilt. What do you think?
Do you know what the largest university in the state of Tennessee is?
Middle Tennessee?
You're correct, yes.
It's bigger than University of Tennessee?
Bigger, by like 20,000 students.
Oh, man.
It's huge.
I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah, it's the biggest university in the state of Tennessee.
I know Central Florida is the biggest college in the state of Florida. You would think Florida State or Florida, but Central Florida is the biggest.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Of course, Troy's line started off at 10.5. It's still at 10.5. That means nothing jumping around either way. Is that right? When you see that?
That's right. That's right.
And but Troy playing at home. Now, we talk about this and people are saying, "Oh, Mike, it's just as hot out in Montana," but it's not. The humidity here is will make it a lot tougher on these kids from Boise, don't you think?
Well, I think you're right. I think you're right, Mike. But it's at 5 o'clock, so it'll get cooler as another.
Well, the temperature at game time is supposed to be 92 degrees, and that's sweltering. And I'm sure they'll bring fans and all that stuff in here. I wonder will they bring them with them? They'll have to fly them in, or will they bring? Will they get some place in Alabama and rent them from somewhere? What do you think?
That's what they do. They run them.
And, of course, I don't know if the other team, like Troy, would be responsible for giving them anything to cool off with. Don't you agree?
They'll think Troy pays them to come.
Yeah, no question about it. But it's going to be an exciting game. And right now the over-under on that game is 50. That surprises me a little bit, that over-under figure, because you would think both of them would be able to score, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it'll go over that.
And, of course, a couple of more games that jump out at me. One of them is Texas and Maryland. Maryland, that game has gone more and more toward Texas. What do you think there?
I think Texas is going to get that one.
Yeah. And, of course, those are some of the bigger games of the week that everybody's looking at. Ohio State, with all of that been going on, they're still a 38-point favorite over Oregon State. So the big boys, they don't expect them to run into any trouble much. There's a game on Thursday. You've got Purdue and Northwestern. It's not a bunch of household words there, but that's a game on Thursday. And then Michigan State plays on Friday. A lot of people think they're going to be a lot better, and so is Wisconsin. So those games could be pretty good games to watch this football season. Will, is everything else going good?
Everything's going great.
And of
Good
course,
to hear your voice.
well, good to hear your voice too, and looking forward to hearing from you. And want you to call in. We've got a picket show on Thursday. It's the Bill Jackson Chevrolet Picks of the Week, brought to you by Bill Jackson Chevrolet here in Troy. And then, of course, on Friday we have the Pike County Ford's Picks of the Week, and we're looking forward to that. So we got back-to-back picket games on Thursday and Friday. And then on Wednesday, we've got the coaches shows, and we've got Charles Simpson coming on at 6, Goshen coming on at 6:30. At 7 o'clock, Pike Liberal Arts, a review of Pike Liberal Arts football. And then on 7:30, it is the Elba Tigers, Meet the Elba Tigers playback. And then at 8 o'clock, my good friend Stephen Kilcrease's Arrington Purple Cats, a review of Arrington football. And that's not far from you, Will.
About 8 miles.
And good bunch of folks there, too, so we're going to have a lot of fun with that. That's every Wednesday right here on our show. Well, anything else you got offer this morning?
Actually, I've got court in Troy tomorrow morning. I may drop by.
Well, we'd love to have you. Hope you will drop by.
Yeah.
And, of course, Will Matthews at the Matthews Law Firm, and that's been going on a long time, hasn't it?
1956.
1956. Your dad. Well, but he was actually came here before then, and he married this young girl from Ozark. But he was in the Army. Is that right?
He was, and he got sent to Korea. And when he got back, they got married, and he finished up law school at Vanderbilt, and then came back to Ozark.
Yeah. Where was his hometown?
Memphis,
and of course he was a former University of Tennessee cheerleader. Is that right?
Yeah, he was the head cheerleader.
Was he the mic? Was he the mic man? Did he do the mic?
He did the thing, and when they won the national championship in 1951.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have to take a break. Will, good to talk to you. We got Larry Blakeney coming on our show. Take care here.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
Did you know at Wiley Sanders Truck Line that we offer Blue Cross Blue Shield, we offer dental, we offer disability, we offer vision, we offer life insurance, cancer insurance. We also have a 401k where we match up to 4%, dollar for dollar up to 4%. We also have automatic trucks at Wiley Sanders Truck Line. If you go to a truck driving school, we'll reimburse you. And don't forget about the $1,000 sign-on bonus. Money! Wiley Sanders Truck Line, Troy, Alabama. Wiley Sanders Truck Line. We help you save for your future.
Have you seen an increase in your insurance premiums or significant change in your insurance coverage? Let Sandbeck Insurance offer you a better plan to suit your business or personal needs. Sandbeck Insurance offers many lines of insurance, whether it's home, farm, or auto insurance, work comp, business, or health and life policies. Sandbeck is here for you. Call or visit our Troy, Enterprise, or Andalusia office today. Sandbeck Insurance, where we take pride in taking care of your insurance.
A personal touch. A high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
No, but we were going to bring you on today. Ladies and gentlemen, back to our show. Former head football coach Larry Blakeney is on the line from Auburn, Alabama. How you doing, Larry?
Yeah, I'm doing good, Mike. How are you?
Doing fine. I know I might have caught you off guard this morning. Of course, Larry's going to be on our show every Monday, but we missed him yesterday, and on my fault. But Larry, we are going to talk to you only on today, on Wednesday. Normally, we will be talking to you on Mondays. But it's good to have you on the line. Good to hear your voice, my friend.
Yes, sir. It's good to hear from you, Mike. And I'm actually with my daughter headed south.
Well, great.
Going to pick up a sailboat.
Are you serious? Well,
retirement does you, man.
I know it, man. I didn't know you were into sailing. I knew you were into golf, but I didn't know you were into sailing.
My daughter and granddaughter, Kelly and Caroline, are into sailing.
I know it, and I love both of them.
To make sure they get the boat to the lake.
No question about it. Well, you're up and you're not. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Blakeney. If everybody that knows Larry Blakeney knows, are friends with him, knows he's not a real early morning guy. So they got you up a little early, didn't they?
Yeah, I did. I had to be ready at 6 this morning. So we've been enjoying each other riding down the road.
I bet you have.
Yeah.
Larry, of course, you spent so many years here in Troy from 1991 to 2014. When you took that job, and I remember downtown Montgomery, you were at the old Whitley Hotel, and you were up there on the podium, and it was raining like cats and dogs outside. I remember this so well. And you introduced yourself to Troy football, and Coach, that many, how many were that? That would have been 9. That would have been 25 years later. You had finished with a career record of 178 wins and 113 losses and 1 tie as Troy's coach. That was pretty darn good, Coach.
Well, I appreciate that. Anything that I did was due to some good support, coaches and alumni, and certainly players. Players is what wins games.
Yeah.
If you hang around long enough in that business, you're gonna figure that out. We figured it out early, and we started that first year trying to make sure that we brought the right kind of people and certainly skilled players and the type guys that would do whatever was in front of them to have a chance to win a game and for Troy.
Well, Coach, of course, you played at Auburn and you coached at Auburn and you'd been on that staff for a long time, and you come in and your first year you're 5-6. The first game you played on August 31st was at Central Florida, and they beat us 21-10. That was a tough game for you to play as your first game at Troy.
Yeah, it was. And, you know, Gene McDowell and I were very, very close friends. And he was at Florida State, and I was at Auburn. We recruited together in the Jacksonville area in the spring. And you know, he and I, thanks to, again, a great university at Troy, and I'm sure he felt the same way about Central Florida. We're the only two coaches in Division I that took our teams from Division II to 1AA to Division I.
And that is something, no question about it.
That's one of the things that I sort of cherish as much as anything, and I'm sure Gene does too. You know,
Yeah.
and being able to, you know, to sometimes suffer through, but you know, to work through those divisions and have you know, enough wins and everything to you know, still be the head coach when
no
it was
question
all
about
over.
it.
And,
Of course, your first.
It was a good tour of duty for me.
Your first win was against West Florida, 13-10, and then of course you lost a couple of heartbreakers. One of them was to Nicholls State, and then you lost to Alabama State on a Hail Mary pass. I remember that so well, and you shouldn't have lost that game. But, you know, but then you played Sanford 24-22, and at Arkansas State 20-17, and at Georgia 19-12. That was your first year, and what I'm saying, you out of the 6 losses, they were all by less than a touchdown. That was unreal. How close you played, and then.
Yeah, we had to be a defensive football team then, and you know, we weren't ready to be from we didn't have the type quarterback to do all the things we wanted to do offensively. We had some good players on offense and some guys that would do what they were coached to do. But you know, when you get a couple of those quarterbacks we had later, you know, even Stan Davis.
Oh yeah, he was a great one out of Albany, Georgia.
Yeah, and you know, we had some other guys. Kelvin Simmons certainly is the most prolific.
Yeah, Coach Kelvin Simmons.
2 years, sir.
You know, when you brought in Kelvin Simmons, you had perhaps the best quarterback in the state of Alabama for a long time. Don't you agree? He was a great one.
Yes, sir. I saw him practice. I was standing on the practice field with Coach Dye when I was still at Auburn before the opportunity to come to Troy, and I saw Kelvin practice. He was a Viger High School guy, and I saw him practice one day, and we had committed Stan White from Marion back then in Birmingham, and I told Coach Dye as we walked off that field, I said, I know we got the best guy available that's going to qualify Stan White. And I said, but this guy right here is some kind of player, Kelvin Simmons. And little did I know that 2 years later we would be able to recruit him out of junior college.
Of course, you were 10-1 in your second year. You went 10-1, one of the best records in Troy history. Then the next year in '93, you went 12-1-1, and that was when you played Marshall for the in the semifinals, and it was a hurricane. You remember that?
Well, it was real cold. I don't believe it was a hurricane.
Well, it was real bad weather.
Yeah, that sounds good, though, Mike.
You remember you had a kick blocked. You had a kick blocked.
Yeah. You know, that was a bitterly cold place that we visited that day, and you know, we had a chance to win that thing, and they did a good job coaching against us too. You know, and they had also some players, and you know, and usually the team with the most players wins the game, and that's sort of probably it was a real close.
Of course, that was their.
Yeah,
that was the.
I don't know what it was, but
the final score was 24-21, and of course that was a great game. In fact, you had played, you had beaten Stephen F. Austin. You remember that game at McNeese State? What an unbelievable game that was. I remember that so well, 35-28. And
you know, there's been a bunch of games down there that sort of blur in my mind. I remember we had a receiver that got sort of.
That's what I was going to think.
Heart Parker.
Yes, sir. Orlando Parker, Coach.
Yeah,
that might have been one of the greatest individual efforts I can ever remember at Troy. You remember he got hurt and went to the hospital. You remember that, Coach?
Yeah, he ran back in, and he ran down the sideline to come to the sideline. We waved him on in. We made a big play on a pass to him the next play.
That's right.
But there's a lot of weird things that happen in a football game, especially a high stakes football game like that one was. And, but that was sort of a unusual set of events there, and so I don't know. We had some mighty good times, and we lost some games too that we either probably should have won or could have won, and those always hurt.
Yeah. But Coach, something that I don't know if many teams were able to do from 1993, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. It was something like 8 out of 9 years you took your teams to the playoffs, deep into the playoffs. You remember that?
Yeah, I do. And that was again because we were pretty good from a player standpoint, and we enjoyed some really good success in the late '90s and early 2000s, and that transition to Division I was one that everybody was worried about, and we sort of took it in stride and beat some good people in there during that time. Mississippi State, Missouri, Oklahoma State, and others. And we made the transition pretty smoothly with the division, Division II to 1AA and 1AA to 1. And I think all those that remember those days, certainly had a chance to stick their chest out about their football program, and I'm really proud of that.
Well, let me tell you something that I always remind you of all the time. You beat Jacksonville State 8 straight years. You beat our main rival at the time. You beat them 8 straight years, Coach.
I don't remember it being 8, but
I'm counting them. I just got through counting them, and you played them. You weren't afraid to play them, so you played them and you beat them 8 straight games.
Yeah, well,
8 straight years.
They were, certainly a great program, and one of my favorite coaches, Bill Burgess, especially a Jacksonville coach. He was the guy that made it happen. Along myself and Bill put the series back together, and we did have the better of it. But I'm proud of those days. But there were also some great people across the field from us, and we had a good little tour of events there. Hopefully the thing that we were able to do then takes place this particular season coming up. And Neil Brown and that staff of coaches that I think may be the best staff in the country, if it was just measured, had a way of measuring it, and I don't know how good they are personnel-wise, but I think they're going to be good enough to do some serious things in their season. And, I'm really proud of Neil, and, again, most of those guys that are on his staff, I had a chance to work with, and hire them or whatever, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they do this year, pulling far apart. I saw where he named the quarterback.
Yeah, he did, Coach.
Yeah, and so that's a good thing to get it established and move on and try to get both guys ready for their part of the game plan.
Yeah.
And,
Coach, I've got a call coming in. Hold on a minute. I think this is for you. I'm going to put you on hold here. Well, he just jumped off. They just jumped off. Larry Blayton is our guest this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, he's riding down the road. And, Coach, I appreciate your time this morning. You were faced with several things. You came in here as a Division II team. Then we went 1AA. and then we went Division I, and which was something that I don't know if any coach in the nation's ever done, gone from Division II all the way to Division I. But everybody said you couldn't do it. But then I started looking at these. Once you turn Division I, and you opened up with Nebraska on back in 2001. I think this was your first game at the Division I, and you lost to Nebraska. But then you went to Miami that same year. You played Nebraska and Miami. I think they were the top 5. Both of them were in the top 5 in the country.
Yeah.
And I can remember you playing Miami and played them off their feet. You held their great running back to about 25 yards. You ended up losing going away, but then you went to Mississippi State and won after that on the 13th, 21-9. That had to be perhaps your biggest win at that time, wouldn't you think?
Oh yes, you know that was huge. Of course, any win is big, and but being able to go to an SEC home venue and win the game, you know, against a highly heralded coach, Jackie Sherrill, and the blitz guy, what was his name?
Oh yeah, the great defensive coach. You're right.
Yeah.
But you know, you had a guy named DeMontre Carter, a guy that you brought.
And that's right, from Auburn over there to Troy, and he really flourished after he got to our place. And the thing I remember most about that game was we had a couple of checks for Brock Nutter, our great quarterback.
He was he's a Hall of Famer, don't you agree?
I agree. I hope we get somebody to nominate him and get him in the Hall at Troy. But you know, that's their business. And but he checked off at the line of scrimmage on the blitz and ran the speed option to Andre. Is it Andre? It's not Andre. It's Carter.
DeMontre Carter. Yeah, DeMontre Carter.
DeMontre, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, he took it and skirted the left side for a touchdown and won the game for us. And you know, we played great defense all day, and we had some pretty good names on that defense, and Osi Umenyiora and my boy from Auburn,
yeah,
DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, of course, that
good hands.
Yeah. Of course, that was great. You know, the way you did it. Back then, Coach, when you first started in Division I-A, you had to play Nebraska, you played Miami, Mississippi State, and Maryland in the same year. Can you believe that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next year, you played Nebraska, Iowa State, Missouri, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. That was 5. I mean, you had to play a SEC schedule.
Exactly, yeah. And I told Johnny, I said, when are we going to reach a plateau of earnings where we can maybe play some
yeah,
opponents?
Exactly. You know, and I was looking in 2003, and you played at Kansas State, at Minnesota. I was at every one of those games. At Nebraska, at Virginia. You remember playing Virginia in Virginia?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to do that, I reckon, to get a schedule, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly. And it was sort of like a blur to me, but I do remember those teams that we played.
And I tell you what, something else you did, that Coach, that I don't know if many people have ever done, was to beat Marshall 2 times in a row. You know, you didn't go to Marshall and beat them twice in a row like that. And that was
big.
We beat them
once up there and once in Troy.
That's right.
That was you know, a team that when we entered Division I, you know, we look back and they had been 1AA for a long time and moved to Division I, and we sort of wanted to try to emulate them, and we were able, felt like we, you know, crossed the plateau when we were able to beat them twice. And, so the last 2 times we played them, I guess. But anyhow, you know, that's
I know it.
Great memories. And
but I just wanted people to know that, I mean, even as good a record as you had, a lot of them were against a lot bigger schools, and you know, people. And of course, when you beat them, and of course, the Missouri game. Can you remember at all when you met the Missouri coach at the middle of the field after the game? What did he have to say to you?
Well, he was very complimentary. He is a really good man, really good football coach, and we were able to beat them here that day. I don't think they were, they had a Heisman candidate at quarterback. And
I remember him well, yeah.
I'm not sure that they took us very seriously, and they should have.
Yeah, that's right.
So we had two guys. I don't know how many sacks Marcus and Ozzie had that day, but anyhow, we put it to them that day. And but the coach was very, he was very cordial and very complimentary about our program.
And of course, that was probably the biggest turn in Troy football history. With that big win, and you remember the crowds, and you remember the tearing the goalpost down. I mean, now nobody wants you to tear the goalpost down, but if you're going to do it, that's a good time to do it. Don't you agree?
That's right. I agree.
On national TV with the top folks with ESPN, doing the game, they were saying Troy, Alabama is you don't want to. I think the last thing the guy said, you don't ever want to play Troy University on a Thursday night on national TV.
No, I don't think you do. It's been proven that nobody wants to do that.
But, Coach, it's just amazing. You didn't duck anybody. I think he played Nebraska 3 or 4 times. It was unreal.
I think Neil's going back out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going out there. Coach, you'll like this. Dr. McRae and I are going out there, and we're going to stop off in St. Louis and see the Cardinals and the Los Angeles Dodgers play on a Thursday. Then we're going to go on into Nebraska and beat Nebraska.
I hear you, man. I love it.
Well, real quickly, Coach, a team like Boise is hard to beat anywhere, but they're returning 10 out of 11 starters on defense. They're supposed to be one of their better teams.
Yeah, and we've met that coach when he was an Ark State guy, assistant coach and head coach, and they'll be well prepared. And I'm hoping that old 100-degree heat and some of that humidity favors the Trojans in that game. I really think it will, but we're looking forward to the game. Gonna try to be there myself.
Well, Coach, it'd be great to see you, my friend, and we appreciate your time this morning. Coach, I know you're riding down the road, but now next Monday, I hope of course, your Auburn Tigers, real quickly, Coach, they play Washington at that afternoon. What do you think about that game, Coach?
Well, much like Troy, they're playing a great team. Washington's got a bunch of starters back, and they got a great football coach. And I'm really concerned. But if they may have to really play one of their better games to win. I think defensively both teams are strong, and I really don't know. I think Auburn's quarterback will give them a little bit of edge from that side of the ball, possibly, and it'll boil down to turnovers, field position, all those things that coaches talk about before the game. And if you take care of the football, you're gonna have a chance to win in the end. You can't screw up in the kicking game. You have to do all those things good.
No question about it.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'll tell you what would make me the happiest man is if Troy beat Boise and Auburn beat Washington and sent them all packing back to the West Coast with all them liberals there.
Well, Coach, I think that's a good statement, and we appreciate you with that little prediction. And
I enjoyed my time at Troy, and I still love Troy, and will always be a Trojan. And both of my boys that are down there working right now, certainly Neil and all the staff guys, and the young men are carrying that Trojan cause.
Well, Coach,
so anyhow, I love being with you, man.
Yeah, Coach, there's been a lot of coaches and players and people that have come by Troy over the years, but Coach, I don't know if anybody is more beloved than Larry Blakeney is at Troy University.
Well, you're so kind, Mike, and I appreciate it. I look forward to talking with you Monday morning.
All right, looking forward to it, and you have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Thank you. Larry Blakeney, ladies and gentlemen, calling in from, actually on the road with his his daughters, and of course he'll be on our show on Mondays, and we'll look forward to it. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Here's some Napa know-how for you. Your local Napa Auto Parts store in Troy is under new ownership with an all-new fully stocked store. Big deal, you say? Big deal, we say. Like the ownership, the store has a new look, too. We're still delivering the same Napa quality and know-how, but we've increased our inventory and are committed to helping you find the parts you need when you need them. So come check us out. We've got the right part at the right price at the right time. Know-how, Napa know-how.
Troy Cable Security makes it easy to stay aware and stay in control of your home wherever you are. User-friendly interface allows easy navigation for lights, locks thermostat, video, and garage doors. Never worry about leaving your garage door open or the front door unlocked. Your mobile app can send alerts to your phone for alarm and no alarm events. Know when your children arrive home from school with video response. Make sure your home is powered by Troy Cable Security for ultimate access, awareness, and protection.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer, all at cost plus 10%. When you shop local, you reinvest in your community. Remember, buy local, shop local. Piggly Wiggly, local since forever.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
Back to our show, and there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb Barker, number 7 from Priceville, Alabama, is the starting quarterback for the Troy University Trojans when they hit the field this Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock against the Broncos of Boise State. Larry Blakeney, Mike, was on the phone, and as always, very good interview. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that. I wanted to go back over some of the old games that he played, Mike, and you know, he played at one time, Troy played Nebraska 3 years in a row. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I remember, Neil Brown was saying the last time, Troy played ever got beat 56-0. We were at that game. And
and they really took it to us.
That was a game that I think we were trying to leave, but around the third quarter it was so bad.
Well, there's one thing that they said in his interview the other day that I didn't like. He was saying is win or lose, this Boise game is not going to make any big impact on our season. The thing we've got to do is win this conference championship and have a chance to play in the playoff.
That's true. I mean, he wants to, Sun Belt champion will be able to, whoever has the best record will be able to host the championship game, possibly in Troy, and what a great event that would be for Troy fans. In December to have
it'd be huge.
A game to play for it all. You couldn't ask for more than that.
It'd be huge. In fact, I was looking at my trip schedule, and I don't see how I can help but go to Boone, North Carolina, Mike. I don't see how I can help it.
Well, I don't think you're going to be able to go because it's Thanksgiving weekend. It's Auburn, Alabama.
I know, but Troy comes before Auburn, Alabama, Mike. Way before.
Well,
maybe you might want to stay at home and do that, but not me.
Speaking of Alabama's released their depth chart. Starting on offense, Damian Harris. A lot of people don't realize this could be 3 straight seasons over 1,000 yards for Damian Harris. He decided to come back, even though he probably would have been a second-round pick. After that, you got Najee Harris, Josh Jacobs, and Brian Robinson, the kid out of Hillcrest, Tuscaloosa, who a lot of people said would start for most SEC schools, is 4th string at Alabama.
So Alabama looks good at running back. Is that right?
And then wide receiver, you got Henry Ruggs III out of Robert E. Lee. Had a really good season last year, called 6 touchdown passes. The starter Next to him will be a guy that will live in Alabama history for the rest of his life. DeMonte Smith will be the other wideout. Of course, he caught the national championship touchdown pass from Tua. Then after that, they say this guy's the best receiver of Alabama's team, Jerry Jeudy. And then after that, you got tight end Hell Hinches, tight end halfback Irv Smith Jr. Irv Smith Jr. had a really good year last year. And then back, starting offensive lineman Jonah Williams at left tackle, starting guard Lester Cotton is back. Ross Piersbacher has moved from guard to center. And then this guy came in the national championship game, played a great game. Alex Leatherwood will be your right guard, and then Jarek Wills will be your right tackle. And then code number 1 is at quarterback right now. Saban hadn't made a decision. Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts, and then backing up them is Mac Jones, who had a really good spring game.
Yeah.
Then on defense, you got Quentin Williams, who played really well last year. Isaiah Buggs played well as a star last year. Rakeem Davis, a lot of people think is the best defensive lineman in the country. Outside linebacker Christian Miller. Outside linebacker, this guy was phenomenal until he got hurt against Clemson. Anthony Jennings.
Yeah, of course, he's supposed to be back, and he's first-team All-American.
He's first-team All-American. Then this guy was phenomenal last year in the playoffs. He got hurt early in the season. Matt Wilson, kid out of Carver, is a great linebacker. And this guy's been a phenom ever since he was in the 8th grade. He was offered a scholarship. Dylan Moses will be your starting linebacker as well. And then Trayvon Diggs will be your cornerback. Savion Smith, a new player that transferred in from LSU.
So, wait a minute, tell me about him now. I don't remember that.
Yeah, well, he played at LSU and then went to junior college, and Alabama got him.
Is he a good one?
And then Shaheen Carter will be your star, and then Xavier McKinney. A lot of people have been talking about him. Will be your safety, and this guy was phenomenal late in the season last year too. Number 14, Deontay Thompson, big time hitter, will be your other safety. Right now, the kicking battle is still up in the air. They brought in Austin Jones.
Boy, they need somebody. Alabama's kicking game has not been good for last several years.
They brought in Austin Jones, who was a starter for 2 years at Temple, has transferred into Alabama. He'll contend against Joseph Baleas, the kid out of Louisiana, who was 5 for 7 in the spring game. Punter will be Skylar DeLong. He's going to replace J.J. Scott. And then kick returner, you'll have Trayvon Diggs, Josh Jacobs, Henry Ruggs, Brian Robinson. Punt returner, you'll have Trayvon Diggs, and then Jalen Waddle. A lot of people say he's the next star receiver at Alabama, a lot like David Palmer.
Really?
And then holder will be Tua Tagovailoa. Long snapper will be Thomas Fletcher. So that's the Alabama roster.
Isn't that amazing? Boy, they sound good, don't they?
Well, they're no
on paper. Hey, let's just say this: on paper, excuse my language here. On paper, they sound real good.
You could ask Travion Samuels. He left Louisville to play at Troy. He would know how good Louisville is going into that game.
I know it. You're right. Exactly. And so
I saw Jackson playing quarterback the other night for the Ravens. It's pretty tough when you lose the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback.
Oh yeah, no question. I can't even get into pro football. To me, they're two different games.
I watch it here and there, and I kind of enjoy it in spots. But yeah, I can't get into it.
To me, it's like this. It's like it's two different games. I don't know why, but ladies and gentlemen, hey,
one thing about pro football always amazes me is their clock management, time management. They're amazing how they can get a field goal or go on a last minute drive. And it's different college football where you get a first down and the clock stops.
And I'll tell you something else about pro football.
It's amazing how NFL comes down to those last-second drives all the time.
Have you ever noticed how sometimes they run out of bounds and it stops the clock, and then other times they run out of bounds and don't stop the clock? Explain that.
That's for 2 minutes it stops.
Okay, all right. But any other time, if he's pushed out, he stops the clock.
Yeah, you see that official waving his arm.
All right, I know, but sometimes they leave it, let it keep going. I can't understand it.
Yeah, the new rule that's going to surprise a lot of people when they watch these first games is that kickoff rule. You can have a fair catch anywhere.
Yeah.
Now where you get the ball at the 25-yard line, it doesn't have to go in the end zone.
Yeah, I got touchback. But
which is a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun for guys that enjoy to see a kickoff return. That's what the most. Look at North Carolina. A&T the other night, they had a huge kickoff that won the game for them.
Sure did, no question about it. Ladies and gentlemen, Odell Beckham Jr. has just signed a 5-year contract extension. Now, this is a guy that stays hurt, Mike. He stays hurt. It says it was not terms were not disclosed. The deal with the 25-year-old from 2014 first rounder is worth $95 million with $65 million guaranteed. So that means if he walks out and turns his ankle and says, I don't want to play anymore, he gets $65 million. Is that right?
Yeah, and he's had a lot of off-the-field issues. You know, this is a guy that played at LSU, and, I mean, he was a decent player at LSU, but wasn't great.
And why in the world do you want to invest that kind of money on somebody that could break his arm the next day, you know?
I mean, he puts up huge numbers, but, you know.
His deal is worth $95 million and also tops the $82.5 million that receiver Mike Evans received with Tampa. Gosh, how could they pay those kind of salaries? Man, oh
Evans
man.
played at Texas A&M when Johnny Manziel was there.
Yeah, no question about it. And boy, it's exciting times. And we were looking at the high school games, and you know, Charles Henderson to go to Enterprise this early is pretty tough. They say Enterprise's quarterback was 19 out of 20, Mike, throwing the football this past week.
Yeah, you know, Enterprise had a down year, but, I mean, this is a really tough schedule for Charles Henderson. It's going to be hard to go down there and beat Enterprise. I'll be honest, it might be hard for him to go down there and keep it close.
Yeah.
State transfer Joe Burrow has also been named the starting quarterback at LSU. So LSU.
All right, now who is that now? Tell us again about him.
Joe Burrow, the kid that transferred from Ohio State. He got beat out at Ohio State, but had already graduated and had 2 years left to play. So he's the new quarterback.
And that's going to be big.
He beat out Miles Brennan, who played against Troy a little bit last year.
Yeah.
But LSU has 2 other quarterbacks transfer, so they're only down to 2 quarterbacks as well.
Oh, boy.
So
those guys.
It's an interesting year for LSU. A lot of people think Orgeron's on the hot seat. Of course, you open up with Miami, and then, of course, you got that tough SEC schedule. It's going to be hard for I think LSU's going to be lucky to go 7-5.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see it. And, you know, Clemson has got a quarterback battle, too, with Kelly Bryant.
You know, Kelly Bryant held off their phenom, Trevor Lawrence, out of Clemson. And so Kelly Bryant, who looked horrible against Alabama in the playoff game last year, is still going to be the starting quarterback for Clemson.
Over Trevor Lawrence, who everybody thinks.
Yeah. And then DeAndre Francois, who a lot of people, you know, saw play against Alabama when Florida State and Alabama opened the season last year. And I tell you what, he looked pretty good in that first half, and then he got injured. And
he sure did.
The rest of the year, he's won the job back at Florida State. So,
you know, he threw for 3,300 yards and 20 touchdowns in 2016. Now, who did he over Blackman? Blackman's the guy that came in last year and threw for 2,300.
The real tall, skinny kid. He's about 6'6", about 180 pounds.
And so this guy Hockman is a red shirt, another guy on the scout team that is trying to make it up at Auburn. The key to Auburn, Mike, and Coach Blakeney was saying it, and I thought it was real. You know, they're well coached. They've got some great skill positions. They play good defense. But he still thinks that Auburn should have some advantages, especially with Steedham at quarterback.
Yeah, I'm sure Coach Blaney probably goes out there and watches them practice, doesn't he?
Now, I don't know. He didn't say he did, but he said he would be at the game Saturday, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. And we hope that we can fill this stadium up, ladies and gentlemen. It's very important to buy your tickets, and, of course, the ticket office is open in the Trojan Arena.
I'm going to be shocked if this is not a sellout before the end of the week.
If it's not a sellout, something's wrong. And, of course, this is going to be a great game. And we'll be, and of course, if you got YouTube, Mike, you can see all these coaches from Boise State being interviewed.
My wife was asking a good question. You know, at Alabama games, you can't bring in purses anymore. You have to bring in clear purses.
Yeah, that's right.
Find out for people out there. Do they do that at Troy games as well?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, there will be a lot of those on hand outside the gates for people, for women.
Even in the stadium club, you have to have a clear purse?
I think you do. Just to get into the stadium, you got to have a clear purse.
We need to call somebody from Troy's athletic department to find out that for sure.
I'll find that out.
A lot of people don't want to have to return back to their cars.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, it's going to be a big week. It's going to be exciting. If you can't get excited about this in college football right here in our great little town of Troy, Alabama, something's wrong.
Not many times a ranked opponent's coming to play your first game of the season, so that's pretty big time.
But I'm
right
still
there.
very concerned about TV, Mike. I cannot find that channel on the.
I've got ESPN News on my TV right now.
David, do we have ESPN News on our cable? Somebody told me it'd be on the what you said, ESPN News, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out more about it tomorrow, but that's on the computer, isn't it?
No, ESPN News is on your cable.
It is? Well, I got to find it. And we'll be reporting on that tomorrow right here on this show. Max Howell will be calling in. Hope you have a great day. We appreciate Larry Blaney calling. We'll see him every Monday right here on Channel 2 on your Troy cable dial. We'll see you tomorrow, bright and early for Today in L.A.